we have Keith Barger from the Space Foundation. Keith Barger manages the Space Foundation's education programs that support science, technology, engineering, art, and mathematics, STEAM education. Keith is responsible for stewarding the Space Foundation Discovery Center's new award-winning Junior Space Entrepreneur Program designed to better prepare today's youth to secure STEAM positions within aerospace companies while providing an immersive educational experience. Prior to the Space Foundation, Keith was a high school science teacher and a basketball coach. Keith earned his bachelor's degree at Valdosta State University and his master's in teaching from Georgia College. Thank you so much for joining us, Keith, and we're really excited to have you here. I think we're ready whenever you are for your presentation.
Awesome. Well, thank you for having me. So like Victoria said, I am with the Space Foundation, which is a global nonprofit organization, and we are headquarters here in Colorado Springs, Colorado. But like I mentioned, we're a global organization, and one of the things that I focus on is helping students kind of get into that career path that they want to, and mainly in those STEM career fields like Victoria mentioned. So if you're interested in science, technology, engineering, art, and mathematics, the Space Foundation can help you. And one of the things I want to share with you and talk kind of briefly about is kind of how big the space economy is getting. It's growing. We're getting a lot more interest now in space with a lot of the launches that are going off, the things that companies like SpaceX is doing and Virgin Galactica. So one of the things I want to do is I'm going to share my screen and have a short little presentation that I want to kind of share with everyone. And we'll kind of talk a little bit about kind of the space economy, and then talk a little bit specifically about one of the programs we do called our Junior Space Entrepreneur Program. So it's really catered for those high school students, maybe early college students, for those of you who are interested in going into a STEM career field. So along the way, if you guys have any questions, definitely please include those in the chat, and I will try to get those throughout the presentation here. So what is the Space Foundation? So as we talked about, it is a global non-profit organization. And one kind of our motto is space today for a better tomorrow. Space plays a pivotal role in all of our lives, whether that's the technology in our cell phone, or actually if you wear glasses like I do, the coating on our glasses that are the non-reflective coating that originated from an astronaut helmet. Don't know if many of you guys knew that, but there's a lot of awesome technologies that we gather from exploring space that comes down and hits us right at our home. So one thing that we kind of do for the Space Foundation is an event called the Space Symposium. And what the Space Symposium is, this is now going into our 37th year of doing the Space Symposium. And it is an international event that actually happens here in Colorado Springs, where all of the space and economy leaders come and meet. So it's military, private, government, all of them come and talk about space. And so now we've been operating for almost 4 decades of doing the Space Symposium. And really the main part of that is to help people who have those same interests, especially in space, come together and get inspired, talk, collaborate, and kind of be a part of that whole global space community. So one of the things we look at is that space awareness, service to the space community, and one of the things that I'll kind of touch on a little bit more is space education. All right, so here's kind of my small pitch, so bear with me. So why go into space industries? Why get into a career field that deals with the space economy? Well, if you look back in 2018, the space economy was a $415 billion global market. And that's expected to grow to $1 to $3 trillion by 2040. So you're talking about getting into a career field that's continuing to grow and grow exponentially. So some of the things to kind of talk about for those who are looking into maybe what career you want to go into, the median salaries for a STEM career field is 40% above the median household income. So they're great opportunities that can pay well for students who are interested in those STEM fields. There's some other things to talk about, some patents. So I don't know if you're well aware of patents and what they are, but there's a lot of actually free tech patents that are out there that NASA developed that they don't know what to do with. And so a lot of people, I'll give you an example a little later on, take those patents and they make companies and start companies on patents and science that NASA did. So you don't even have to be a scientist. You just have to know kind of how to twist those business ideas and make a business around it. Now, when we talk about kind of the career fields and what sparks your interest, here's a few things to kind of watch for in the next coming years, because we're really seeing an exponential growth in a lot of these areas. So if you're dealing anyone with data analytics or energy and energy storage, cybersecurity is a big one. So if you're into coding and programming, you have an in this space economy. Robotics, all of these have a great deal to do with space economy, and we're seeing exponential growth and need for people in these types of career fields. So I mentioned earlier about kind of some of these patents. So NASA a lot of times develops new technologies for certain missions or spacecraft. And what they do is after they've kind of developed the technology and used it for their mission, it kind of just sits and waits there. It's kind of just a patent. It's things that they've done research on and developed, but they really have no other need for it. And so what people can do is get this patent and then develop a company on it. I don't know how many of you guys are aware of a company. It's a small company called Tempur-Pedic mattresses. Have you guys ever heard of it? You may even have one, a pillow or your mattress. That originated as the seat cushion for astronauts. That was the cushion in astronauts. NASA developed it. They did all the research, developed the Tempur-Pedic mattress, and then after a while, the patent set. No one knew what to do with it, and all of a sudden, some folks came along, saw this patent, saw another need for it. Man, you know what? Let's make a pillow. Let's make a mattress out of it. And now they have a multi-million-dollar business around a NASA patent. NASA did all the work. They just took it and now created a business around it. There are thousands of patents out there like that. So I encourage you, if you're interested in stuff like that, if you have that business entrepreneur mindset, check out that website there and look at all the patents that are available. So one of the things that I deal with is our Center of Innovation and Education. So what we do here is our goal is to really help to create and sustain the workforce of the space economy. So if you're a student, if any student out there is interested in diving into any of these topics I kind of mentioned, robotics, coding, satellite design, engineering, we can help you get into that kind of pipeline and get you a good start at starting your career in a STEM field. Some of the things we kind of focus on, we have a long list here, but we have a variety of ways we can kind of help you. So if you're into government and like different policies, or if you want to start up a small business, you want to be an entrepreneur, or just a young professional in, say, a company like Lockheed Martin, we can kind of help initiate a lot of those conversations with you and kind of get your foot in the door. Another thing we do, and this is kind of more in my realm, is focus on the next generation workforce. So that is you guys. Everyone on this call is kind of that next generation workforce that we're pretty much going to be relying on the next 20 to 30 years. And so what we do is we do community outreach. We help teachers and educators with professional development centered around space-inspired STEM. We also have our program called our Junior Space Entrepreneur Program, which I'll kind of show and talk about here in just a minute. And then we also reach out to pre-K all the way to, we call grade 20. So kind of that early college and college graduates. So here's one of the programs that we are, this is kind of our staple program for our Space Foundation. This is our Junior Space Entrepreneur Program. And what this does, this is kind of slated for more of the upper middle school and high school students. And what we've done is we've created a mission to Mars. So what you do is you kind of get into a cohort of about maybe 20 or 30 of your classmates, and we put you through a mission to Mars. So we hit you with all the challenges of launching off in a rocket and rocket design, to how do you survive in space for that 6 to 8 month trip to Mars. Then once you land on Mars, what are you going to do? How are you going to investigate the surface? So there's a lot of geology and biology background. And then we make you come home. Now, granted, this is a simulated Martian challenge, so it's over the course of 30 to 60 hours. So you're talking about maybe a semester or a year-long kind of course or program. But within that program, we also teach you business. We teach you how to develop an idea that you have. Just how we talked about those NASA patents with Tempur-Pedic mattresses. If you're thinking, oh man, that sounds cool, that's something I might want to do, we can help you develop those skills through our Junior Space Entrepreneur Program. One of the last ones we actually did was sponsored by Lockheed Martin, and we did it up here in Denver for a school. And at the end, the students at the end of their program got to pitch, very much like a Shark Tank style, got to pitch to Lockheed Martin upper management. So they were talking to directors and managers at Lockheed Martin, and once again, kind of getting their foot in the door of a great organization. So that's our junior space entrepreneur program, and that's kind of one of the things I wanted to highlight through this. So I know that was a lot, kind of like drinking from a fire hose, but we have all these different websites you can go to and look at for more information, and check out the Space Foundation, check out our local Discovery Center here in Colorado Springs, kind of where we run both our in-person and virtual JSEPs out of. So just wanted to kind of do a brief presentation about kind of the excitement that we have now in the space economy going forward.
Thank you so much, Keith, for that incredible presentation. If you haven't done so already, start getting your questions in here for Keith. I have a question for you first, just to start it off. You're just talking about this amazing entrepreneur program. Can you tell me a little bit about what kind of students are eligible to participate in that? Is it high school, middle school, college? Is it just the United States? Is it international? Could you just explain a little bit further about who would be eligible to participate in that?
Absolutely. So actually every student from about 8th grade to 12th grade is eligible, whether they are in the US or international. So we've done both events in person, but now with COVID, we've switched everything to a virtual platform. So, you know, if you have certain students in your school, or if you have a teacher maybe in your school, pitch them the idea, hey, I found out about this awesome program, maybe our class can do it. So we have, it's open to, I would say, 8th grade all the way to 12th graders for our junior space entrepreneur program. And I see a couple questions come in. So one from Erica Raymond. Has the pandemic affected your job? It has. It has. All of our programs used to be in person, or we would travel. So let's say if you were clear across the country, we would travel to you and bring our programming to you. We were actually in Connecticut when they kind of did the travel ban. And so we had a little bit of a scare there of being able to get back to Colorado. But yes, the pandemic has definitely affected my job. I would say it's, we've kind of deemed it now, it's called a forced innovation. Things like COVID and other situations force you to innovate and kind of step out of your comfort zone, which I would recommend all of you guys do. Step out of your comfort zone, and that's really where the innovation happens. Let's see. I got one from Luna. What type of coding would we be doing, or like what would be the purpose of it? So some of the things we do for coding is programming a cube satellite. So having different functions. Also doing robotics as far as coding your robot to completely do a mission without your interference. So it's not like a remote control where you're kind of controlling it at every second, but you're pre-programming it and having it deliver its mission without you interfering. So you kind of set it up ahead of time. So it's programming with you know, JavaScript. There's some things with EV3 rovers and Lego Robotics, VEX. So we kind of run the gambit with all those. If you've ever heard of Raspberry Pis or Arduinos, we do a lot with those. Is it open all year? So our Discovery Center is, our physical space museum is open all year. And then as far as scheduling a JSEP program, it's really just kind of getting, contacting us, contacting me, and you can contact me through the Space Foundation website and saying, hey, we're interested in this program. When could we schedule it, or when could we get involved in the program? But yes, both JSEPs and our Discovery Center are open all year long. So Christine, you talked about the program being virtual or in campus. It is both. So COVID does kind of restrict our numbers that we can have for an in-person event. So we really do push for more virtual components of those, but we have the ability to do both in-person and virtual. Tell me about the program, quick recap. So from Joshua, had a lot of connections issues. Well, sorry to hear about that, Joshua. So as far as the program goes, it's our, just to recap, our junior space entrepreneur program, and it's really slated for those 8th grade through 12th grade students. And it's a both virtual and or in-person program that teaches STEM fields, so science, technology, engineering, art, and mathematics, along with business and entrepreneurship skills.
Hey
What
Keith,
was
I
the,
think we're
oh,
just about at 12 o'clock. I'm so sorry to have
no
to run it
worries.
a little bit short. If you're planning on sticking around, feel free to hang out in the chat. We really appreciate your time with us. It's been so illuminating hearing about your experience with this. We have a lot of students really interested. So thank you so much for your time.